All right, here we go. Now we're going to do some subtracting of polynomials. So I know for the past 2 days we did adding. Sounds like there isn't a crazy difference. There is a bit of a difference here with these. I know when we added them, we just rewrote the whole thing without parentheses and then combined those guys. Today, we're going to subtract those. I'm going to show you the difference when we get to those screens. But first, I want to do a tiny bit of warm up because we just have to remember something huge before we get there, and it's called distributing, right? So the next screen has 2 practice problems where we distribute. It is not subtracting polynomials. Again, the next page is just warm up where we're distributing, because in order to subtract our polynomials, we have to distribute. Okay, let's get to it. There we go. First warm up, we have 2 parentheses 3x plus 1. These parentheses means we have to distribute this 2. And by distribute, we mean multiply. So here, I'm going to write this out, right? We're used to these little arrows. So 2 times 3 and 2 times 1. So if I did that, I end up with 6x plus 2. Again, I multiplied this 2 times 3 and this 2 times the 1 to get that answer. Now that one's not so much the important one. It's really the second one here. This over here is the important one because there's this minus in front. And when we subtract our polynomials on the next 2 screens, that's going to be the difference, this little negative in front. So let's see, we're going to do negative 3 times 2. That's going to change things. I'm going to write it again here. There's a little arrow for the multiplication and another one over there. So now negative 3 times positive 2 becomes negative 6x. And negative 3 times positive 2 over here becomes negative 6. What I need you to see is I need you to see that these signs change, right? This was a positive 2. It became a negative 6 because of that negative in front. This was a positive 2. It became a negative 6 because of that negative. It changed the sign, and that's going to be huge for our next 2 screens. All right. Let's get to the next one. Here we are. Here's our first subtracting polynomials. And in some cases here, we are just gonna rewrite what we see, okay? And when we're gonna start off in the front and just rewrite 3 plus 2x squared. There's no negative in the front here to really distribute anything. So this is just rewritten, didn't change. It's this negative that is going to make all these signs change. And we're sort of distributing a little 1 right there. So I'm going to kind of put a little 1 right there. And we're going to have to distribute that 1 to that 3 and to that 3. So negative 1 times positive 3 becomes negative 3x squared. I did a little funny X business there. Let me kind of erase it. 3 business there. Sorry about that. There, it's all back to normal. All right. And negative 1 times the other 3 becomes negative 3x, and this time it's cubed. Notice the exponents don't change. This number here and that number there, those guys don't change. Just a sign in the front. All right. Now that we have the signs in the front all straightened out, let's just combine like terms like we did the other day. We have these 2 guys here that both have the squared. So we'll combine those 2. We have this guy here, it's the only one with an exponent of 3, so we're going to leave it alone. That's the only one. And then we have this guy here without any letters or variables. So we're going to leave it alone. So let's just get that first green one written. So we got negative 3x cubed. That's this guy. Nothing to combine it to. Nice. But then we got the 2 purple guys to combine. So we got to combine these 2 right here. So what's negative 3 plus 2? That is negative 1x squared, right? We don't have to write the 1, but it's nice. And then we got a 3. plus 3. Done. I admit these are going to be a little tricky. There is a little bit of using a calculator here, all right? So please do so. Let's do one more. Here's a new one. Notice nothing in the front over here to multiply or distribute. So we're just going to rewrite this puppy, but there is this negative right here. We have to distribute that to each of those. Let's see, I'm going to get a little thicker pen. All right, so we got 3k squared plus 1. No changing right there. But now we're going to take this little 1 that's here and distribute that negative 1 to each of those guys. So negative 1 times, oh, there's a 1 right there, right? Negative 1 times negative 1 is negative k squared. And the negative 1 times positive 1 is negative 1. Notice again the signs are changing. I know some of you guys like to jump and assume. This is one case where you can do it. If there's a negative in front, each of these signs will change. All right, so now let's get some things bunched up and put together here. Looks like this guy has a k to the second power, and so does this guy. Now there's technically a little 1 right there. I'm going to put it there. And then we also have these guys that only have a number and no variables. All right, let's write these guys out. What is 3 minus 1? That's 2. So 2k squared, right? So those are done. Now we just have 1 minus 1. 1 minus 1 is 0. I don't have to write anything. I wouldn't write plus 0. I guess I could write plus 0, but that would be kind of irrelevant. So I'm not even going to write it. Just make it go away. I'm going to write what I wrote, leave it alone. There's my answer. All right, I realize the subtracting ones are going to cause some of us a headache. So what we're going to do is practice them today and tomorrow, and we'll rehash them next week a tiny bit, and we'll even do a Zoom meeting maybe tomorrow if we need to. All right, have a nice day.